Hello guys, welcome to our channel Caption Media. Here I'm going to give you a review of the newly released movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. First of all, here's the box office report. As of March the 12th, 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania has grossed $198 million in the United States and Canada and $249.6 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $447.6 million. Popular on Variety, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania took a sizable hit in its sophomore outing at the box office. Ticket sales for the third Marvel movie starring Paul Rudd's subatomic hero were down 69% from its $105 million debut, resulting in the biggest second weekend drop in the franchise's history. Quantumania maintains the quirky fun of the Ant-Man movies, and it's a great introduction to Kang, but it struggles with massively competing tones. It's solid entertainment, but the MCU bag of tricks have become redundant and exhausting. Ant-Man is a smaller scale movie compared to prior installments in the MCU, but it's by no means any less engrossing. With a strong lead performance by Paul Rudd, a more simple, leaner story and some really impressive visual effects, Ant-Man manages to prove that Marvel doesn't need to have world-ending events for every single conflict. Ant-Man is a movie, in my opinion, that has taken the Marvel Cinematic Universe into the comedy genre that we know today. Paul Rudd is a national treasure. Rudd was seemingly always born to play a reluctant superhero. The character of Scott Lang is a unique hero in the sense that he's an everyman. He's a regular guy who just wants to spend time with his family and find redemption for past mistakes. And after all the continent hopping in Age of Ultron, it's nice to have a conflict that hits closer to home. Ant-Man's entire training procedure is a bit boring, but occasionally turned interesting because of the exposition. I never thought I'd ever say this, but the exposition scenes of this movie are actually very interesting. The final fight scene of this movie was also very nice. Every time they would show a very intense action scene going on, and then cut to real life where it'd be a very small thing. The film boasts some of the most out there visual effects in the entire MCU. The shrinking scenes were filmed using a form of microphotography, and it allows us to see everyday objects at a huge size. Vacuum cleaners, mouse traps, running water, even kids' toys are an ever-present danger for Ant-Man. The ants themselves are also incredibly detailed, and they allow for some really entertaining moments. One in particular is even rather heartbreaking. Speaking of ants, this movie made me see ants very differently. Earlier, I just thought them to be minuscule organised insects who kill bigger and more good-looking insects. Like all MCU films, there are references to other adventures, such as a mention of Sokovia, which was a key Age of Ultron-like location, the Falcon cameo, and the post-credit scenes set up Scott's future adventures in both his own sequel and in the bigger Avengers movies. This movie could be great to tell children how important and interesting ants are. They would probably like them more. Ant-Man is one of the more forgettable movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The one element where the film stumbles a bit is in the villain, played by Stoll, who turns in a good performance himself, but his character as a whole just isn't particularly interesting or memorable. It also doesn't help that his character just feels like a copy and paste version of the main villain from the very first Iron Man film. This would also translate to the rest of the film too, unfortunately, because this whole film basically feels like a rip-off of the first Iron Man. It follows the exact same story beats. Because audiences warmed to Paul Rudd's humour, his third standalone Ant-Man outing should have gone for the laughs, not some convoluted mythology that explains nothing. Clumsy storytelling and underdeveloped characters unfortunately prevented it from being the spectacular strong start that Phase 5 needed it to be. All of this makes the plot feel both murky and corny, while the action is less than convincing. Still, the cast is on fine form, finding moments of emotion alongside the snarky relationship humour. That's more sci-fi than superhero flick this time, taking cues from Star Wars and gets really fantastical. While it may not be the best in the series, it's a totally fun instalment and one that's worth seeing on the big screen. The film covers no new ground, offers no new concepts, and introduces almost nothing fresh in the way of storytelling or character development. Rudd and Reed made a solid duo in the past, but this time around, the formula stands out more than the charm. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania is the weirdest, most fun movie of the three, yet it's bogged down by serving as another stepping stone on the road to Marvel's multiverse saga. Nearly immediately, director Peyton Reed stomps on the gas, plunging our tiny heroes into chases, fistfights, battle sequences and other assorted set pieces. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania leaves some unanswered questions, and its action scenes rely more on fisticuffs than clever size-shifting props and fight choreography. It's still a fun outing with likeable characters, just not a fantastic voyage. Overall, Ant-Man has its charms, but they're frequently lost beneath a story that feels like a patchwork job. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is pure, indulgent escapism that never forgets comic book movies are supposed to be fun. It's a fun watch, but also a rather forgettable one. It serves as a character origin story and it's very fun to watch, but now as I write the review 2.5 years later, I literally have no memory of the movie except the scenes I mentioned, and Scott's wife seeing some other man and Ant-Man falling on Stan Lee's car. So I'd definitely give it another watch someday. I do recommend this movie. For more movie reviews, keep watching our channel Caption Media. I'm going to scoot now. See you in a bit. Have a good one.